Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio, everybody. What is going on? It is Gale here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi Battle Chronicle video. And today, we are not here for the brand new event, nor am I here to react to the brand new story. Of course, as I said in my I'm quitting Danchro video, I will still be reacting to the stories that Danchro provides us. And of course, that video will still come out tomorrow. But what we're here for today is in fact a notice that came out a few days ago, and I did see it, but of course with the announcement of the 10th anniversary project, which turned out to be a bit of an underwhelming announcement and everything, more of my time was spent on that instead. So I had to wait for a few days to make this video, but I'm finally here and I want to talk about it. And it is of course none other than the notice of the service termination for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 versions. As I've said as well, I want to make a video, and I will be making videos on the game when the time comes, of course, especially when the notice of service termination happens. And while this isn't a global service termination announcement, it is a hint at what could potentially be a global service termination announcement. That is point number one. However, I also think point number two is also valid, and we're going to try and break it down, and we're going to try and explain why I think point two is also possible. And that is, of course, the fact that the service termination of the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 versions could also mean that the life has also been extended for the other platforms of the game. So the PC version, sorry, I was gonna say PlayStation again, the PC version or the mobile version of the game could see a bit of an extended life expectancy thanks to the service termination of these two versions, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Now, of course, if you guys go on to enjoy this video, remember to leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel for more content, and let me know in the comment section down below, did you guys still, or are you guys still playing this game after the 1.5 anniversary, or did you guys quit alongside me? Now, of course, the reason why I'm asking you guys that question is because I know over the last 4 weeks there's been no new event in this game, no rerun, no brand new event, no nothing. It's been a bit of a barren wasteland from my understanding, and I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on the game at this moment in time. Now, of course, as a Danmachi fan, I completely get it if you still want to keep playing this game and everything, and I completely get it, but I am quite curious to see if, you know, maybe the last 4 weeks with no event or anything kind of got you guys to step away from the game, or are you guys going to return to the game with a brand new event? Let me know in the comments. I'm quite curious to see what you guys have to say down below. Now, let's start off by reading the notice first and foremost before we get into the breakdown and the discussion side of things. So, thank you for continuously enjoying Danmachi Battle Chronicle. We regret to inform you that the distribution of Danmachi Battle Chronicles PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 versions will be discontinued. We apologize for the sudden announcement to our players. The schedule for the discontinuation is as follows. So, the schedule will be as such. So, April 2nd was when the announcement was published, so this was 2 days ago. And then when July 30th hits, from the end of the maintenance on July 30th, you will no longer be able to buy paid Salas at all. You can still buy paid Salas at this moment in time. For the next 2 months, you will still be able to buy it, or next 2 months, quite literally next 2 months, you will still be able to buy the paid Salas packs, but from the 30th of July, you will no longer be able to buy it. And then on the 29th of September, which is about a month after the anniversary ends, or anniversary starts, sorry, not ends, the anniversary starts, the end of service and end of support for both versions of the game will occur. So basically, you will still be able to experience the anniversary of the game, at least one part of it, if I'm not mistaken, unless they decide to do only that one part, and that's it, and it's 1 month long, and that's about it. Then yeah, you'll experience the anniversary. But if it's 2 parts and it goes on for 2 months, you'll probably not be able to experience it, unfortunately. We'll have to wait and see on how that pans out. I still don't know what their plans are for anniversary and stuff. We're gonna have to just wait and see, and you guys will have to be very, very patient in regards to that, of course, right? It's gonna be a patient and the patience test basically, and we'll have to just wait and see as to what exactly goes on there. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. So I'm kind of glad that they're waiting at least until the anniversary potentially ends for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 versions to end. In all honesty, I think that's a good thing for those players. At least they'll be able to experience the second anniversary. But it kind of leans into my point number 2 more than it does my point number 1, to be honest. And I think my point number 1, of course, was that this is a hint that we could see the end of the services on PC and mobile as well. This is a very good possibility. There's a very high chance that that is a possibility as well because of this announcement, right? Because once they're starting the end of service of one set of platforms, the other sets will also soon follow, right? I mean, it's the same as what happened with Danmachi, for example, or any other gacha game. The global version of the game shuts down, then the JP version soon follows maybe a year or two later, assuming it's nothing to do with publishing rights or whatever it is, right? If it's from a developer's end, or if it's from the JP side, you notice the slowdown happen. That's naturally the case. I mean, Danmachi was the perfect example of this, right? 6th year happened, we survived for a while, and then inevitably, obviously, the global versions of the game, the US version, the CN version, the KR version, HK Taiwan versions, they shut down next, right? And then after that, at the end, it was the JP version. The JP version lasted an extra 6 months, basically, on top of what the global versions did. So it is very possible that that could still happen here, right? Where the PS4 PS5 versions ended service on the 29th of September, and then 6 months later, the PC versions and mobile versions soon follow. Now, I actually don't think that's necessarily the case here, however. And the reason why I believe that to be the situation is that, one, we're at the end of the fiscal year now. The end of the fiscal year has happened, and this is probably a byproduct of the end of the fiscal year sort of, auditor reports, and also just generally the financial reports that they've probably generated at Aiming Inc. and everything, and they're looking at costs and stuff like that. And what they might have been able to gather from their costs and everything, right, is that the PS4 PS5 versions are just too expensive to run at this moment in time. And you could say that that's a byproduct of them not generating enough revenue for the game. But if you are able to reduce the costs of producing the PlayStation 4 PlayStation 5 versions, remember that the patches required, the cost that you have to put up the games on those platforms, and also to run the servers, to have crossplay and cross save enabled and everything of that sort, it probably does cost them a pretty penny. And so I do believe that if they are making this decision, this will actually potentially help the PC version and the mobile version of the game to last a couple of months, if not at least a year longer, potentially, right? Because the moment you stop producing support for this game, you are able to drive all the resources that were being put into the production and the build and the development for this version into the other versions, allowing you a little bit more resources and time into that. This is something that I brought up when the announcement happened in the first place. I was like, great, I like the idea that the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 are getting the game, but when that announcement happened, I remember even saying that, this was during the time when the game was at an absolute, it had gone from a high of the release to, oh my god, what the fuck are we actually playing at the moment in time, right? We were that down bad at that time. And I remember saying, rather than putting money and time into these two versions of the game, why not invest into the development and build of the current versions that are live right now? Why not spend more time in building more for this game? Because from what I see here, there's barely any changes. I mean, from what I know is that, yeah, there's a new floor that they've added, the abyssal floors, which is super sick, I must admit. And I mean, pretty cool. I mean, the rewards aren't much better, to be honest. I ain't gonna lie. At least you get one more fragment of wisdom, I suppose. But it isn't like you're getting that much more in abyssal exploration, from my understanding. And I don't know if they've added anything else, to be quite honest. Since I stopped playing the game. Of course, the growth quest is a thing. I don't know if there's any changes here necessarily as well. I don't know. But yeah, there's so many places that they could have worked on and improved upon. The various game modes that we've been talking about, things like Uncharted Battlefield, getting more stages in that. More time and money could have been spent into developing that, potentially hiring new staff, and more specifically for the development of that of those versions of the game, stuff like that. That's what needed to have been done. and that's not what happened here. So I'm hoping, and well, for their sakes, and to hopefully make this game better, I'm hoping that the decision that they've made here to end the service of these versions is going to help the production and development of the other versions of the game and the core game itself, right? Basically is what I'm trying to say here. One thing I've also realized and I'm seeing here is that they've still not given us any sort of response to the survey that we answered. There's no like you know, oh, these are the things that we've learned from the survey yet. There's nothing of that sort, which I'm very surprised about, because I thought by now they would have obviously released it. I think the survey was what, 2 months ago nearly. I want to say it was at yeah, there it is, middle of February, and we've still not got anything, which is very concerning to say the least. What I do think this survey also, I do think that survey must have also helped in them making the decision for this, because obviously when you answer the survey, I think there was a question in what platform do you play on, PC, mobile, or whatever. Obviously, if they saw most people were saying PC or mobile, they knew that then there's no point in having the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 version if most people are not playing on those platforms, right? So I think that probably is another thing to keep in mind as well when it comes to obviously the when it comes to the reason why the service termination has happened. I think it's a combination of the fiscal year ending and them realizing the costs and how much it costs them to basically produce this game. But along with that, they realized that the amount of cost that they're incurring for the amount of players that they probably have on, you know, those versions doesn't help either. So I think, in all honesty, there's two ways you can look at it, and there's two outcomes that could result from this, and this is what I feel personally. Like I said, one, this is just the start of the end basically, and that all versions will inevitably end, and the PC and mobile versions will soon follow, maybe 6-7 months later afterwards, potentially, right? That's outcome number one. Outcome number two is that the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 versions ending is actually a good thing for obviously giving more money and, you know, reducing the costs from one aspect of the game and putting it into the other aspects of the game basically, and not losing out that much, in all honesty. I think that is something to bear in mind and something to keep in mind. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all pans out and what ends up happening, of course, right? I'll be keeping a close eye. Obviously, as a Danmachi fan, I will keep a close eye on it no matter what. And I'm still waiting for the survey results, because I want to see what everybody, what they have to really say in regards to what we've, you know, asked of them and what we've said of the game itself. I'm quite curious to see if they have anything to say on that front. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, of course, in the comment section down below. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, take it easy, everybody. Bye bye.